What is Ouino? Ouino Guide, the learning path. The Ouino program uses a nonlinear approach to language learning. This means that you can take any lesson in virtually any order. Most language software on the market use a level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or a beginner, intermediate, and advanced approach. This can be good if you're a complete beginner and learn from one system and never use any other. But for many people, this can be frustrating because everyone seems to have a different definition of the levels. What does it really mean to be at an intermediate level in a language? There are lots of different opinions out there. The level system didn't really make much sense to us. Although some things are certainly more complex than others, you'll find most of these in the building blocks lessons. The hardest and most time-consuming part of learning a language is learning and remembering tons of words. For example, it's not really harder to learn the word for monster than it is to learn the word for hello. Hello is just placed in level 1 because it's a very common word that everyone needs to know right away. Which makes perfect sense in this case because you're guaranteed to use hello more than monster. But the problem is that many words can be important for some people, but insignificant for others. More on this later. You need to learn words in terms of importance and frequency of use. You can't learn only easy content in the beginning and completely avoid the more difficult content. For example, the verbs to be and to have are some of the most challenging verbs to learn in many languages, but should be learned at the beginning because they are used constantly. However, why would vocabulary words about vegetables be in level 1 while sports is in level 3? For most people, the word for asparagus doesn't come up too often in daily conversation. But if you happen to work in a kitchen all day long, this might be different. What I'm getting at is that it's awesome to be able to focus your time learning words that will be more useful to you. There are aspects of the language that are important for everyone, and other aspects that can vary from person to person. That is where the nonlinear approach comes in. Problems with the linear approach. There are a few problems with the linear approach to learning. One issue is that not everyone has the same goal. If you're learning for travel, your learning path will be totally different than if you're learning for work or business. If you're a doctor, you may want to learn about anatomy, body parts, and health very early on in the process. These lessons might have less value for someone who doesn't use these words on a daily basis. In Ouino, you can choose exactly what you want to learn. If you're a student and you have an exam on the subjunctive tense tomorrow morning, you may want to skip over everything and take all our subjunctive lessons in one night, but that wouldn't be the case for most people. Another issue is that no one has the same definition of what a level actually is. If you learn from one system and then decide to choose another system, it's very hard to know which level you're at. You may be an intermediate in one system, but considered a beginner in another. You may be a beginner in one system, but have seen a bit of beginner, intermediate, and advanced material in other systems. The point is that it can be hard to go from one learning system to another without having to start again from scratch. And it's hard to use a combination of different learning methods. Learning a language is a lengthy process, and you may want to use more than one method. That's something you can do in Ouino, and that's why we decided to use a nonlinear method of learning. This gives you control over your learning path, and you can therefore learn the material that is most relevant to you. This makes Ouino fit more people than most systems because everyone with different needs can create their own learning style. This is a learning approach that we are known for, and lots of people love it. You can be at pretty much any level and start learning from our program and focus on the material that is most relevant to your needs. Why we created the recommended learning path. Although our nonlinear approach works for most people and it's appreciated, we've gotten some comments throughout the years of people finding themselves lost and felt that creating their own path was not suitable for them. We wanted to keep the nonlinear approach, but also provide everyone with a path that they could use if they preferred to be guided from point A to B. We created the recommended learning path to fit most people. It starts with frequently used words and it includes a good balance of each module of the course. It's there to guide you if you need it. You can start at the first lesson and follow the path to the very last lesson. You can also switch back and forth from the recommended learning path and your own path. There are no strict rules and you'll never be lost because your progress will be shown in the menu. We believe that having a strict path is a weakness in the learning program. We discovered that having no path at all can also be a weakness. Using a nonlinear approach with a recommended learning path to assist you if you need it is the best of both worlds. But of course, one of the most important parts of the learning process is being able to keep track of everything you're learning to avoid feeling lost. In the next video, we'll show you how to keep track of your progress when learning a language with Ouino. Stay tuned!